Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Good morning, it's 7:30 on Sunday the 20th of December. Just making my way down to the land. Going to be a bit of a short day today, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land. At least you can see what I'm doing this morning. We have got daylight and thankfully it's not raining. I'll just get myself across to the cabin. If you hear some clunking, it's because I'm carrying lots of stuff with me this morning, some of which is a little bit heavy. Not too bad a morning this morning, to be fair. It is cool. And watching the weather forecast, they claim that over the next week it's going to dry out and get colder. I don't mind the cold so much. It's all this rain we can do without. I was talking to my neighbour Gary yesterday, and we were both complaining about how wet it had been for months and months now, and we were looking forward, even if it's a cold frost, which is not great for your plants, at least it would help to firm the ground up a little bit, because it is a pain moving around in this. Everything, all the grass just gets churned up and you end up with a mud bath rather than a grass field. Anyway, I'm going to get myself into the cabin, get opened up, get the kettle on, and we'll see what we can do today. Don't know if you can hear that or not. I've just fired up the diesel heater. I just thought I'd do a little experiment. We're showing, if you can see that or not, it's about hovering between 4 and 5 degrees right now. So I've just popped the heater on. I don't know what's up with the focus on this camera, but we'll give that a little test drive and see what happens. Give it 5 minutes or so just to warm through while I'm waiting. I've got the kettle on to boil, and we'll see what happens. Well, that's the coffee made, so let's take a little look at the heater. And we've got 7 degrees. So that's jumped 3 or 4 degrees in the time it's took to boil the kettle, so bit of a bargain. And that is lovely and hot now, so I can relax now with my coffee. Bargain. Well, welcome to another day down at the cabin, and it's a cool one. The diesel heater worked really well. In the space of, what, 3-4 minutes, it had thrown at least 4 degrees on to the temperature, which is nice. I just thought I'd have 5 minutes with a cup of coffee before I get started. It won't be a long day today, definitely. I've got other things that I want to be doing away from here, because as usual, it's back to work again in the morning. It's going to be a crazy few weeks now. I mentioned in my cabin chat yesterday about the potential for lockdowns, full national lockdowns, as soon as we had Christmas, so Christmas Day, Boxing Day essentially. And lo and behold, when I got home yesterday, there it was on the TV. But they're not calling it a full national lockdown. They're calling it Tier 4, which up until yesterday didn't exist. We had Tier 1, 2 and 3, which were gradually tightening restrictions. And now, as if by magic, we've got an extra tier. So it is a national lockdown. They just desperately don't want to call it a national lockdown because they promised there wouldn't be one. So there we go. It just kind of demonstrates how quickly things can and do change. Doesn't make any difference to me and millions of others because we'll be going to work as usual. So yeah, predictions about New Year's Eve being cancelled. There we are, they have. So we'll see what happens, I guess. In terms of today, really it's a bit of a tidy up day. I can't do the solar panel until I get a cable. I can probably mount it, but it's a bit pointless mounting it because I'll just have to take it back off again to put the cable on. But there are lots of little tidy up jobs that I do want to do. You might remember the other week, I keep forgetting that my days are 2 at the weekend. So what seems like yesterday was actually last week. But you might remember from last week, there were some gaps where the garden room connects to the original cabin extension. I was going to try and fill those with silicone, and I did make a start. There were a couple of gaps in here actually on the original cabin. You can't see them, they're behind the cabinet. You can't see them anyway because you're looking this way, not that way. Imbecile. So I did a few bits round the front facade of the cabin extension, and when I went to look at the gaps between the garden room and this cabin extension, they were just too big. So amongst my many supplies yesterday, there was a bottle of they call it expanding foam. It's gap filler. It's like a polyurethane foam that you squirt it into a gap, it expands out and sets hard. I used it before, you might remember, up on the roof when I did the roofing on this original cabin. So I'll be busy with that. I've also brought down some fuel for the diesel heater. I've invested in a couple of larger metal cans which can go outside without any problem. I've got a metal chest. It's actually here. You've probably seen it in passing. That I'll use as an outdoor kind of fireproof storage unit for things like fuel and oil. Because at the moment I'm conscious that they're either in the garden room, they're not now, I moved them yesterday, or in the tractor garage. And as I accumulate more of this, I am conscious of the potential for fire, and the last thing I want is plastic cans of fuel going up, because that would be a disaster. I'll tinker around in the garden room looking at these raised beds. There's some tidying up in the cupboards and cabinets to do. You might remember yesterday I was almost thwarted in my plans because I couldn't find my drill bit. It's a bad habit, and I do need to learn the lesson of putting things back where you found them. I kind of get distracted as I go along, and I'll move from one job to the next, and I kind of ignore putting things back in favour of getting on and doing something else, and then you end up with, as I've mentioned I think in a couple of videos, like a disaster area of stuff strewn everywhere. And of course when you do need that little tool, you invariably find that it wasn't where you thought it was or where it should be, and then you have to hunt around, as I was doing yesterday. I'll do a little bit in the garden, in the polytunnel. I am tempted to lift those potatoes. I know it's not Christmas just yet, but with the weather we've had, I suspect if I leave them in there much longer, they'll rot. So I am just going to have to bite the bullet and take them out and see what happened with them. For all I know, there might be nothing in there. They were planted really late as an experiment to see if I could grow potatoes for Christmas. So I guess we'll find out. So yeah, lots of bits and pieces, non-jobs. So I'm not quite sure how much of it will end up on video, other than this cabin chat. Indeed, there might not be enough on there at all to do a video. So there might not be one, and I might be sitting here doing this for nothing. Final thing, which I am tempted, I have to say, I mentioned it yesterday when I got that red paint out for the batten for the roof, for the solar panel. I'm conscious when I look at that shiny new floor that went down only a couple of weeks ago, it's not shiny anymore. I have been trailing in and out, and the amount of mud, no matter how much you try and wipe your feet outside, the amount of mud that just magically carries itself in is quite shocking. So I might, once I've tidied up, be tempted to get that tin of paint out, because it will have at least, well, overnight tonight plus Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm at work all of those 3 days. So realistically, it's going to be Thursday, Friday before I'm down here again. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to get this coffee finished off because I'm conscious it's going cold, as am I, since I turned that diesel heater off. So I need to move around and warm up a little bit. We'll see how we get on today in terms of video. If I think there's enough in there, I'll pop it up. If not, I won't. And we'll see you next weekend. But fingers crossed, I'll do a couple of clips at least, just so that you've got something for today. As always, I hope everyone's doing well, wherever you are. I hope you're staying safe and enjoying your weekend, and looking forward to spend a little bit of time relaxing away from work with friends and family, however small your bubble, your COVID bubble might be. People are still people, friends are still friends, and family is still family. It doesn't matter whether they're in the room with you or they're not. So please don't get too disheartened. I was planning on going to see my mother next week, and now they've announced the lockdown yesterday afternoon. Chances are I'm not going to be allowed to do that. But we do still have this magic of technology, so do take advantage of it. And if you can't be there with people that you want to over Christmas, you can on the phone, on the internet. It means just as much if you're speaking on the phone or via video as it does in person. You can't give them a hug or a kiss, but the thought is still there. And after all, Christmas, it is the thought that counts. You don't have to be there, so please don't get too stressed about it if you can't. This will go away. The nonsense that we've experienced with the lockdowns, the infringements of rights and the destruction of the economy will end one way or another, and we will start to return to normal. So just hang in there, don't get too stressed and disappointed about it, and things will be better soon. And on that note, if I don't speak to you before, Merry Christmas. I will try and put a live stream out at some point, but you've got better things to do than look at me over Christmas, surely. If you haven't, tell me in the comments section and I'll do one especially for you, but I'll catch you later. Well, we've got one little job done today. Look at that. I know it looks a bit ugly, especially since it's white, but it is there for a reason. It's filling those gaps. The gap isn't that big, don't worry. Don't go into a blind panic and think, God, that's a big gap. That's just the overspill that's come out of the gap, and that's just starting to set. Gotta be careful I don't get it on my fingers, but once that's dry, just a normal little bread knife will cut that away, and all you'll see is the white of the gap. And if there's one thing I'm not short of, it's paint. So yeah, that just needs to sit now for a day, just to let's take a little look outside. Is it as bad on the outside? Yeah, there you go. As I say, it will trim off. It's a bit squidgy at the moment. Once it's dry, it will trim, and that will stop the drafts coming in. And over time, I mean, you can see the paving slabs are all dried out nicely, even though there is a bit of condensation dropping off the roof. But over time, this will be like the cabin in that it'll dry out. The ground will certainly dry out as I start slabbing more of the area and get the beds in. So yeah, nice little job done. Pleased with that, because there were quite big gaps in places, and the temperature wasn't getting up because the cold air was coming in. So onward and upward, let's do a little bit more. Well, I did say there's a bit of a tidy up day today. I've just been organising the building materials just to see where I've got left. Still got a nice amount of slabs left. This is that metal cabinet I was talking about earlier. It's a nice little galvanised with a couple of little latches on just to keep it secure. So I've just popped in there. There's 20 litres in that big green can, that's diesel. The two, the black and the grey, that's another 10 litres of diesel, and then there's 5 litres of petrol in the green one. So they can quite happily sit in there now and be nice and secure, but more importantly they can be fireproof, because it is a bit of a concern having large amounts of fuel kicking about. But they're quite safe in there now. We'd need the whole cabin to go up, God forbid, before it got to them. So I'm going to carry on, do a little bit more in the garden room. I'm just measuring up those big wooden, they're not sleepers, but they're like sleepers, big chunks of wood, just to see what I need to do to line round the outside. So a similar fashion to this one that I put in for the paving slab support. I'm just measuring up to see what I need to go all the way around the outside. So a bit of heavy lifting, because they are not light, and a bit of measuring, and just general working out in my mind how I want to do it. Well, you know how you say, I'm not going to do too much today, I've got other things to do. Well, you suddenly get sidetracked. I've been busy cutting these big chunks of wood just to run down the sides. The knack is getting them level, which I think they now are. And I've just screwed through, you can see one of the screws there, into the one that's staked down by the paving slabs. So we've got 3 sides in. I just need to measure up. I have measured left to right, and we are exact, give or take a few mil, at front and back. So I'll measure that up and then we'll have a perfect square. Though I suspect, as with this one, I might not have enough wood to do it in a single piece, but we'll see. If it's in, it's in. I don't care whether it's 1 or 2 piece. I prefer 1, obviously, but we'll see. I am conscious that those slabs, though, are not exactly level all the way across, so we might not end up with them being perfectly flush when I put the last piece of wood in, but we'll see. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, as long as it's near as damn it, I'll be quite happy. Well, that was hard, heavy work, especially cutting those timbers with a handsaw, but they're in. We've got all 4 sides in and they're secured. They're all screwed into each other. They're all level and we've filled in all the way around with gravel. So it's all looking very nice. Very nice indeed. It's took a lot longer than I expected it to, but it's in, and now I can work off that and figure out where the slabs are going to go, but not today, because I am worn out now. I'll just drag the battery box in. I've just let it outside charging. I've got one of the CCTV cameras charging inside the cabin as well, so that needs to go back up, and then we'll be calling it a day, I think. Well, that's the panel brought in and the battery box put back. I'll just leave it on charge and it can just gently trickle charge all week. Camera's back on the wall. All that remains now is to tidy up in the cabin and we'll be done. Well, there's always one last job, and I did talk about it numerous times in the last few videos, so I've no idea what's in here. There might well be nothing, but let's take a little look. Well, there's more in there than I thought there was going to be. Let me just check you can actually see this on the video. That's better. I have to say, I am really surprised because we have got quite a lot of potatoes. Look at all these, hey? They're not huge, but they're not tiny either. We've got a rap cyclist cycling by on the bridleway. Don't know if you heard that or not on the video, but I thought I was getting invaded by gangsters. Look at all these. Yeah, there's a few baby ones, but I can't complain about this. Not really. Let's just get the rest out of the barrel and then I'll sift through and put them back, but pleasantly surprised with this. They just keep coming. Right, that's the original ones. We'll launch those. They are just keep coming. Right, I'm more or less at the bottom of the barrel. Surprised to find them at the very, very, very bottom. But it's a pleasant surprise. Look at this. They do just keep coming. Right, that's the barrel empty. There's one stray one clinging to the bottom of the barrel. Right, let's start getting this back in. I'm not expecting to come across any, but you never know. Spoke too soon. And again. They are still there. I'll tell you what, I am stunned. I'll not put that back in. Because these went in extremely late. Bit of a joke really. I didn't expect to really get anything. But I have. And a lot more than I could have hoped for, really. Still finding them. And again. And again. And again. Incredible. Almost put one away. Look at that. And again. Absolutely incredible. There's one of the original ones. Well, I am totally stunned with that. I truly am. I was absolutely not expecting that. And look, they're still there. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Just try and tidy up as best I can. Given the amount of rain we've had, it's not going to make any difference, but I think you know me by now, I just like to be a bit tidy. You haven't seen the state of the cabin though. Well, there we are. What a really nice, pleasant surprise that was. I couldn't have asked for more. so I'll get the rubbish put away. But look at that. Hey, how nice is that? Brilliant. Well, that's it for another day and another weekend. The time really does just fly by. You can see the state of this ground or not, but it's absolutely shocking. There's so much water lately. Oh, there's a little schoolboy error there. Let me just grab that before I go. I'll just stick it in the car. Anyway, I thought I'd share a quick picture of the harvest with you. Look at that. There's got to be a good £5 or more in there. A couple of kilos. So, Christmas potatoes. We did get some. I think I've just timed this right looking at the sky, because all of these black clouds are rolling in again. It won't be long before the rain's coming, I think, but I'll be home by then, so we're all right.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Should I or shouldn't I paint that floor? I'm inclined to say I should. And what about the potato harvest? Were you as surprised as I was? Let me know in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.